Terran player. Now, there's going to be a nice good old follow-up with an extra command center being plopped down. We have Hellions and, of course, Starport on the way. One thing we're going to keep keeping an eye on is what the Starport is doing. It's going to be swapping over to that tech lab.
Yeah, so far this game is progressing in what we consider to be a very normal matter in the Zerg versus Terran matchup right now. Generally speaking, Data C, this particular map, it's more macro-focused. The longest games in the current map will at least seem to take place on Data C most of the time. And I mean, obviously we're not in that direction just yet, but it seems to me that Serral is more than keen to play a game like that, and Bunny likewise as well, focusing heavily on the economy.
Nice job. 3 workers already picked off over here, as there is no detection over at that third base. So it looks like this is the corner that Serral was cutting. Only the single Spore Crawler over at the natural expansion. The Banshee's going to find that out. They may try to head back over and pick off something on the stray ends of these mineral lines. Does manage to find another drone. Honestly, this is already some pretty solid damage. I'm surprised to see the Hellions pulling back, though, because during all of this, while the Queens are defending against the Banshees, the Creep Tumors are continuing to spread further and further out. So, yes, the Banshees are getting some good damage done, but I am sort of surprised to see that Bunny isn't trying to do the 1-2 punch of the Hellions. This is going to be the big first push, and having some Hellions to accompany things is going to make things scarier.
Yeah, Baneling speed at this point is done, and 1-1 is finishing in 10 seconds, as you can see on the right side of the screen. With both of those upgrades finishing, together with Bane speed, you should actually disengage for a little bit longer. But anyways, this just should be relatively doable.
Yeah, Zerglings absolutely cover that army. No escape potential outside of the units that load to the medevac, but the medevacs cannot lift every single one of those units, so quite a few Marines go down, and Bunny just really not finding that much value so far. He is going to be able to scan, pick off some Creep Tumors over here, but he is so far away from actually getting onto any of the bases. Maybe he goes for a drop to the main, but it feels like Serral is going to be prepared for something like that as well.
Yeah, despite the fact that Bunny killed a whole lot of those drones relatively early on, it wasn't super early, right? When we saw those Banshees going to town, Serral was already sitting at a comfortable 70+, and right now he's at 89 workers. So that harassment that Bunny went for here in the earlier stages of this match, I mean, it was nice, he got some work done, but in the end, Serral still arrived at all of the tech that he's looking for at this point in the game. He's going to a Hive, he's going into 2-2 upgrades. He's got a super good economy, and now you're playing Serral's match, right? Now you're playing into Serral's comfort zone, and this is where I feel like he's most dangerous.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we already see the upgrades getting started up for 2-2 with Hive on the way, so he's going to be able to immediately get into 3-3 later on as well. I do like this little bit of pressure here from Bunny. The Widowmines don't manage to find a ton of damage, and man, would have loved to have seen him keep the Banshees alive, just because normally you lose the Banshees, but the Banshees have been pretty effective today.
Yeah, in the picture right there, the medevac drop that was inside of the natural of the Zerg, it got cleaned up without any damage done. I think Bunny was looking away for just a second. Serral was on top of that one too, and so far, it seems that the GOAT is on point, Fear Dragon.
Serral's overall is still doing a great job of defending it. Again, it's just he's got so much creep constantly in front of his hatcheries. He's always got a little bit of advance notice in front of him before he really has to worry about losing a whole lot.
Now, I do like the creep denial overall in this game so far. He's got a relatively small amount of creep he needs to pick up and get on out of there, and he does. Quite a few units ended up going down. In the meantime, there's also a little drop happening over what seems to be at the third base of the Zerg. Definitely, yeah, defended nicely as well by Serral, though. This push is going to be a bit tricky, though, isn't it? That's a lot of Widowmines, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be hard to push up that ramp right now, and it looks like eventually that drop does get cleaned up. Over here on the top left-hand side of the map, though, Hatchery does get sniped off. This is finally one of the first big wins that Bunny is going to be able to find for himself. Even gets out of here alive with the majority of the units. All of the units manage to get out.
Yeah, Bunny is actually dealing quite a bit of damage right now. Now, I am kind of missing the Ghost transition. He's already gotten to 200 supply. He's already added on multiple additional command centers, which is really nice. He's decided to go for Marauders and Liberators instead. Do you think that is to replace the Ghost?
I think you can go for some of the Liberators as a sort of temporary measure and get into that as you see another Hatchery snipe and also another load up of those units in the medevac heading over to the main base. If they find any additional damage, it's going to be a nice little boon. I think otherwise, this drop has already done the damage it needs to. But yeah, I think the Liberators can do okay if the lurker count doesn't grow too absurd.
This is going really well right now for Bunny, actually. Over the last couple of minutes, he's done more damage than I anticipated him to do. We kind of got to the point where Serral had everything defended nicely, and then Bunny just kept on going on with the drops. He's using all of this time as well to now try and secure that 5th command center. which can be a little bit tricky right here on Data C. The first 4 bases are more doable. Serral is sniffing it out, but can he really engage against his army of creep? Well, he's going to try. Zergling's going around the side. Widowmine's detonating on everything. Zerglings, but also on those Marines. I do think there's enough right here for Serral.
Yeah, and a decent number of Hydras as well is going to chip away at that command center's hit points. A couple of Widowmines are going to try and burrow. Are they going to be able to find the damage? Not quite, but a lot of the Banelings do still end up going off on those Widowmines, as well as a handful of bio units. Command center manages to survive for now. Seems like Serral is going to have to back off, and Bunny, it's a narrow defense, but he does manage to defend that base.
Yeah, I think Serral's got to come back, though. He's got a ton of money in the bank, and I wouldn't be surprised if all of those Hydras we just saw are going to morph into Lurkers here. I mean, he's got the gas, he's got the resources for it. I think that is the logical next step in this plan. And speaking of ghosts, would you look at that, a tactical nuke is coming up.
Sort of surprising, but we're going to see Serral diving on forward well before that nuke can come on out. And this angle seems like it's going to be a nice spread here from Bunny, but there is just an overwhelming amount over here for Serral. He's even got a couple of those Lurkers moving on forward, set up in a very offensive position. It's going to be difficult for Bunny to break without a lot of those ghosts that you were talking about.
Bunny has been pushed back right now to just 4 mining bases. Serral has got essentially the entire map. Whatever base he likes, he points at it, he buys it, but he doesn't have that many drones right now to mine resources with either. It's not uncommon to see Zerg sitting at 90 plus at this point, but for obvious reasons, he's got a good amount of income right now, and we are getting to the point in the game where Bunny actually needs an additional base. The main base is, well, probably already run dry. The Netro is also not going to have a lot of resources remaining anymore. And the 3rd and the 4th, they won't be too far behind. So that's exactly why Serral is pushing in this direction again. Just simply creating this contain on Bunny's economy. It should allow him to obtain the victory over the next couple of minutes if he can pull that off.
Yeah, while Bunny might have a gas bank, his mineral income has definitely plummeted. You can see he is sitting at 150 of 200 supply. He has not been able to remax all of these armies that he's been losing here and there in these fights. And Serral,
this is nice.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a nice little snipe off over here. He's going to be able to pick off that hatchery.
Ooh, loses the medevac as well. That was full. That's a little bit unfortunate. Another one goes down. You can boost these, I believe, Bunny, but he probably assumes, there we go, that he already did so as he tried to disengage. That is 2 medevacs going down as well, roughly 15 supply units or so, if I were to guess. And that certainly doesn't help, but you know what? This pressure in the top left-hand corner, it at the very least forced Serral to pull away from the bottom right, and now Bunny has got that base secured again.
Yeah, got some sensor towers set up over there. Nice little defenses.
Tactical nuke coming up.
Yeah, the hatchery is fairly low, but the nuke should not kill it if it lands. And Serral's going to evacuate the last second. Even throws out a transfuse just in case.
Yeah.
But it is going to have enough hit points to survive.
That is the goat transfuse right there, okay. Okay, the Ghost at the very least did get denied eventually. I think he looked at the hit points of that hatchery. He's like, you know what? I think it's going to survive, but I'll do 1 transfusion just in case, and now I know it will for sure.
Yeah, a little bit of safety there. We end up seeing another pushing up this ramp that Serral so very much loves to attack up. This time the Lurkers are going to be joining the fray, though, and there are a handful of ghosts, but I don't actually know if there's enough ghosts with energy to do the big snipes off to push this back.
Liberators are up in the air. Vipers don't have any energy anymore, actually Viper, so it's going to be difficult to actually get rid of those Liberators. You're going to have to walk into those circles. Then again, though, the SCVs, they get evacuated on out of there at the last possible moment. Bunny coming in with as many units as he's got, and you know what? He's got enough.
Yeah, is able to push Serral back. It's a bit costly for both sides. I'd say a little more costly there for Serral, but again, Serral still has the bases. Even though he's been losing some bases here or there, he still has had fairly decent mining across the map because he has so many hatcheries. Whereas Bunny, like you keep saying, he is desperately just trying to get up that 1 extra base.
The Ghosts are, the Ghost is no longer here, but the Marines and the Marauders are here to finish the job that the Ghost began. Apparently, we do see 1 donated medevac as well. And honestly, those little slip-ups are really hurting for Bunny, though. Yeah, Bunny moving on over in that mining base for Serral would be fantastic. He did spot it a little while ago, and I did see a Ghost headed in that direction, too. Either way, we have another hatchery getting denied, and that is like, I don't know, the 5th or 6th base going down in this game so far. He's done an awful lot of damage.
Yeah, if we could actually see the buildings killed, I would love to see the hatchery snipe count there. 7 hatcheries killed, and that's not even including, I think, some of the other hatcheries that maybe had to just be canceled as they were being built and whatnot. But there's that attack to the bottom right that you were talking about, and this is going to be another very, very annoying snipe off that Serral's going to have to deal with. He does have a bit of a mineral bank now because he's had a little bit more time to recoup some of those losses. But you're right, the mining is getting a little bit more sparse.
So now we're getting to the point in the game where these guys are becoming next-door neighbors. They don't want to be, they don't like the creep, the Terrans that is, but he's going to have to expand in the direction of the Zerg. This is a dangerous spot. This low ground is relatively easy for Serral to harass, and he's certainly going to try and prevent this from happening. Bunny right now, though, bunkering up that location with what will be a planetary fortress. And in the meantime, by the way, Serral going for a Nidus network as well.
I like the Nidus network just because he's been having trouble breaking through on the two angles he's been attacking in from. But this base is very bold for Bunny to try and grab right now. He is going to really struggle. You're already seeing Vipers abducting those Liberators. So many losses there for Bunny. And again, I do think even despite how many bases Bunny's been able to snipe off, Serral reestablishes the bases. Serral has been able to completely deny bases from being taken for Bunny. It's only that recently that top or bottom center base has been established, and Bunny is really hurting in terms of how many bases he's actually able to mine from.
Yeah. Even though Serral has been denying bases really nicely, I think Bunny has been doing an even better job in that department, though. That entire top left-hand corner has been just continuously pressured, and Serral hasn't been mining a whole lot over there. I think we're going to see a clash between these armies here in just a moment. Serral's making up for a fight again.
Yep, he's moving forward. Blinding Cloud comes out on top of the siege tank. The Banelings rolling in toward those ghosts, zoning them back as the Hydras continue to try and do some damage. Those siege tanks still remaining alive, though, as they were completely ignored. The Hydras get pushed back, and Bunny mounts a defense there.
Yeah, and now he's got the planetary finished as well. It's difficult for Serral to go down that ramp right now.
This is a bit awkward. There's a lot of supply for Serral, but 70 supply in Zerglings that are still in production right now. And they're not here for this fight. It's not Banelings that he could really use as well.
Okay, so Bunny trying to take control of this hatchery. If he denies this one, the one in the bottom right-hand corner is going to be next, and that's exactly why Serral is trying so hard to defend this location right now. Fighting down the ramp, though, into the Ghost, into the planetary fortress. I don't think that's the move.
He's going to be able to clean up a couple of SCVs, but SCVs are not of the utmost importance to Bunny right now. Army supply is. He can replace the SCVs with mules. Hatchery is going to go down.
Drones are hiding in the bottom right. They didn't see us leave.
Yeah, I think that is, you're absolutely right. It's going to be a vital target, but a Nidus worm for escaping. I like that. That's clever.
Yeah, we don't normally see the Nidus used for that, but a new worm is established in the top left-hand corner, so Serral is going to continue mining with those bad boys as well in just a moment. But he actually should really try to take care of the base in the bottom right-hand corner soon as well, because that's probably going to be his next expansion. I don't think he's going to be able to win this game off of the economy that he's got right now. And that's also why Serral opted to try and mine these bases, because, well, if the resources are gone, Bunny can't take them anymore either.
I'm actually wondering if Bunny can actually afford the supply to send things off, because Serral's been so aggressive. He keeps sending in this army, and once they get moves forward, Planetary Fortress, a vital base there for Bunny, does get taken out. And while eventually Serral will get pushed back, I don't think he can end the game purely off of this push in. As you can see, Bunny's able to eventually push this back. The damage has already been done. You can see it reflected in the supplies. Serral is again, yes, he's had bases sniped left and right, but it's the fact that Serral has 4 or 5 bases mining. So when he loses 1 or 2 bases, he loses half of his mining. When Bunny gets his bases denied, he's losing 50 to almost 100% of his mining.
Economically speaking, Serral has been ahead for the better part of the last 15 minutes, right? And that was what makes this so very difficult. His traits are inefficient as far as the resource cost goes, but he's just simply got so much more stuff. Bunny having a very difficult time securing those outer bases, and now he's being pushed back really hard. As a matter of fact, only 8 SCVs remain. GG is cold. Gonna be a concussive shells opener right here from Bunny. We've seen this before in this particular tournament. Now Serral is scouting out, and if he sees the tech lab researching on that barracks, if he sees the armory, that would be huge. But the timing right here, he's not gonna be able to see either of those two.
Have medical care applied to them. It didn't quite make sense, but you know what?
They suddenly become biological, man. Anyways, this is the point where Serral finds out what he's going up against. One of the queens, 2 of the queens actually got caught off guard. That is an excellent start right here for Bunny as he tries to grab those kills. Now the Hellions transform into Hellbats as well, right as the Zerglings are around to jump on top of this army.
Beautiful save on the medevac there as well. It's very low on hit points, so 1 queen flanking in or 1 queen coming in for a dive could still snipe that off. But these Hellbats, the Marauder, still getting a lot of damage done over here. The queens on all our retreats. So many of these queens have gone down. Now drones are starting to fall, and Bunny is finding quite a bit of damage already with this.
Yeah, this is excellent right here for the Korean Terran. Eventually that the medevac does go down. But I think we're going to see a lot more of those drones.
Oh!
Rose Little, he's trying to evacuate him out of there. That Reaper, actually, strangely enough. Oh my god, he's sending it back. I don't think that's where you want to go right now.
Oh, goes from 8 to 15 to 18 drones going down. Bunny has fired back in game number 2, and he has absolutely found a significant amount of damage this game.
Yeah, I don't know exactly why Serral decided to send him back to mining already. That seemed a little bit early.
It was bold.
I tend to try to not doubt any of his decision-making, but that certainly was a bit of a misplay right there. He loses a lot more drones. Excellent start to this game right here for Bunny. Is he going to be able to win with the follow-up attack, though? That's the main question. He decides to go for 4 additional barracks here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. Just power out some additional units. I don't think that Bunny needs to take any major risks here. If anything, it's just going to be Serral that would need to take some kind of risk. And there's usually one of 2 kinds of risks you can go for. One is the all-in, which it does seem like a lot of Lings and Banelings being flooded out right now. Serral is going to drone up behind this, but he's looking to get some damage done. And immediately, Bunny knows this is not the economic risk.
There's not that many Zerglings, though. Sure, he can bust through this wall, and that's nice and all, but is there actually enough Zerg following this up? I mean, like you pointed out, yeah, he's droning behind it.
And we see that Bunny is building is, in fact, that starport on top of the tech lab. Serral's going to come in for the scout, and he's going to identify that Bunny has workers that temporarily they try to unionize.
Okay, I was going to say, there is no way he's going to put down an armory underneath an Overlord and then keep it alive. Bunny. That is like the most obvious bluff ever. That's like telling your opponents you have 2 pockets aces while giggling, you know? I'm not 100% sure if there's a correct answer there. But anyways, the Banshees right now are catching these queens on the edge of creep. And once again, this is excellent right here for Bunny, grabbing one of those queens already. Keep in mind, there's a hatchery out there as well. That's probably going to be one of the targets here next.
This is really awkward. 2 Banshees can beat 1 queen, and they can beat 1 queen, or sorry, 2 queens with one of them being at 3 hit points. But Transfuse is going to come out, is going to be able to help push back these Banshees, but still, that's already great damage, like you were saying.
He's trying his very best to deny those Banshees, but they've already got a good amount of damage in. Serral does snipe one of them here eventually.
1-1 as that army is getting set up on the top left-hand side of the map. The Queen's going to be on the front lines, and immediately 2, 3, 4 Queens get sniped off immediately. And that's going to mean that these Marines have a little less to worry about because they can always evacuate into those medevacs. There's not really as much of a fear.
Yeah, those siege tanks over here positioned beautifully, though. Set up in such a way that there's not a lot of surface area to deny, and Bunny is in a dominating position right now in this game. Keeping this hatchery alive is going to be very tricky.
Reinforcements are coming in. I think that Bunny actually smells blood in the water right now, and so does Serral. He's going to go ahead and retreat, sacrifices the hatchery, sacrifices a queen that pops out of that hatchery, and Bunny is going to get a critical kill on that hatchery. Serral's just desperately trying to mount defense. He's supply blocked right now, of all times to be supply blocked.
Serral, though, making the high-level decision right there to just give up that base entirely. All too often we see Zerg players trying to defend that area with a little bit of creep spread, but ultimately losing because of that. Serral, though, immediately started up another hatchery, and I think that's probably where those drones are going to be mining shortly. Yeah, as the hatchery just now finishes up here as well. I do like the decision here, but it was a desperate one, right? Bunny's certainly in a fantastic spot at this point.
Bunny is going to be feeling phenomenal right now. He's still got so much of his army left alive. He's going to be able to continue to deny this location for sure, but he also has another army that's just been building up on the other side of the map. So this is going to turn into that multi-pronged aggression, but it's going to be very different from game number 1. It's going to be multi-pronged aggression where Bunny is a bit ahead economically, or in terms of his army supply at this point. He's going to be able to superpower this aggression.
Yeah, excellent game here by Bunny, though. I'm really liking what he's doing throughout this series overall. This is a good advantage for him, but not necessarily a game-winning one just yet.
He's supply blocked again. The Overlords just started. These Overlord snipes have been brutal for Serral to deal with right now.
Yeah, it can be really quite annoying. Then again, though, if Bunny wants to push, he's going to have to push on creep. He decides to just move here. I don't think it's Serral's time to go. One way, I guess, though, of opening up supply is by losing a bunch of supply, right?
That is true. You know, you can free up supply that way as long as you're able to trade a little bit. Did he just burrow Zerglings?
Yeah, he just burrowed like 30 Zerglings up north. I don't think that's intentional.
Or is it? Is he waiting for a retreat back? No, there's no way.
No, there's no way. This is not a campaign mission, right? Well, if he's trying to move them forward
my God,
right now,
buddy.
yeah, massive detonation right there on those banes.
Unbelievable detonations there. The medevac also gets cleaned up in the main base. Suddenly, everything falls apart there with the aggression there for Bunny. Really, really awkward 10 seconds of events, Loco.
Yeah. That advantage that Bunny has is still there, but it's dwindling very quickly. If he makes another play like that, I don't think he can really call this a lead anymore. Good splits right there from Serral.
Yeah, I mean, Bunny still does have a bit of a supply lead, but I feel like Serral's very close to being kind of out of the deep end of the water right now. He's so close to actually pushing all this back, and if he does, that is when he can start flooding out some of those hive tech units, and everything else that he was doing behind this is going to start coming out. I think Bunny still has an opportunity, but it is
Bailing Burrow right there on the ramp.
Yeah.
He actually managed to deny that group of Marines as well. Yeah, and in a very interesting turn of events, Serral is trying to grab control of this game once again. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a good position here for Bunny at this point. He's going down south, but this is no longer that game-leading advantage that we were talking about previously.
No, it is certainly becoming a lot closer, but we'll have to see if Bunny can continue to just power out more units. He's still got a pretty much uncontested economy that's been behind all of this. He's been continuing to power out additional armies to move across the map to find the hatchery snipes like this would be big, but the Banelings do manage to deny at the last second, at least for the moment.
A couple of medevacs are just staying behind over there. He's coming in with another push over here in the top section of Serral's bases. That one will also be denied. You've angered him, Bunny.
Serral has just decided to start playing even better than before because wasn't happy about things.
He needs to pick up and get on out of there, though. I think he's losing a little bit too much supply once again. Supply-wise, though, Bunny is still looking excellent, right? Army-wise, we're talking 122 supply versus only 70-something. It's tricky right here. Yeah, he decides to bring everything across. I think that's the right move right here for the Terran player. Does he not simply have enough to push straight through all of those Zerg bases?
I mean, most of the Banelings have just been used up. I see maybe 3 Banelings over there, and they are going to try and find some connections. Almost managed to find one, but that's all the Banelings down. The hatchery is going to end up falling. The Queen's trying to come forward to help protect those Zerglings and Banelings, but it's not going to end up working out. And Bunny is starting to plow on through, hopping his way up that ramp. Bunny is looking for a kill.
Did you just say hopping up the... Okay, fine. All right, fine. Excellent play right here from Bunny, though. I really like what he's doing in this series. Now he's in that choke point as well, which is super difficult. Now, there are a couple of Vipers available, so maybe a Blinding Cloud could help out in that department. Parasitic Bomb, yeah, it's too juicy right there to resist. But GG, and even a well played is given right there by Serral. Serral coming in once again with an Overlord Scout, trying to figure out what's happening, and this time around he sees exactly what's up. So he sees a double tech lab start. Immediately the cloaking upgrade is denied, and he goes for 3-4 additional barracks? Really? Okay. So those 4 barracks, it's going to take a little bit of time for them to kick in. They're going to have to build attachments and all that as well, but he should be able to get a very decent amount of units out. Generally speaking, at this point in the game, we've got the 3rd command center up and running, right? At the very least, it's done inside of the main base of the Terran player, or maybe in the natural wall off. Serral does scout that something's a little off. So what he's seen at this point is a 1-1-1. He once again checks right there with a Zergling, the top of that ramp. That is an awful lot of supply depots. Obviously, a command center, I mean, when you think about it, it's a building that allows you to return resources, but it's also a big supply depot itself. And Serral is certainly counting those at this point. He must realize that something is off because he's making a ton of links.
I've been trying to deny vision, like you were saying, getting the spit full supply depot wall and everything made things a lot more obvious. And Serral going to be well set up over here, and Bunny fully on to creep over here. Absolutely no fear. Is he going to regret that?
I love that the Queens were in the front of that party as well, taking up a couple of the hits. The Siege Tank's now completely out of this engagement. Keep in mind that on the back of this, there's going to be a ton of Zerg reinforcements as well. And so far, this fight is not helping too much for Bunny. Then again, though, he's now finally pushing back that Zerg army, and the Queens are on the run.
Yeah, Queens retreating back onto the area where the creep is not receding. Serral does manage to keep quite a few of his Banelings alive, so if he's able to flood out those links, he doesn't have to wait for more Banelings to be made in order to go for things. And I love the little segmentation of the Lings off to the right-hand side. Not only are they nice to potentially pick off reinforcements if they're streaming in one by one, but they could also be a really effective flank. They could be a counterattack. There's so many things that Bunny has to account for now.
Zerglings, in the meantime, on that reinforcing path. So Bunny, if he wants to send units across the map, he's going to have to commit a larger group of them. I like that position here for Serral a lot. He's picking up on the fact that Bunny is slowly, moving more and more army across the map. That was a good start, for sure, for Bunny in this engagement, but he's not done just yet. Serral obviously making army here the entire time as well. Relaying that creep is going to be impossible, but he's picking up free units here.
Yeah. It's important to note, Serral is he's not doing anything behind this. There's no drones that have been added on during all of these fights. He's not getting up any additional tech. It is just Serral saying, I need to make as many units as possible because I need to survive this. That is the #1 priority on Serral's mind.
2 Liberators coming up for Bunny, actually. That's kind of interesting. I think one of them just finished up. I wonder if they should have been Medivacs or if they're actually part of the engagement. Regardless, though, Bunny is like, come out and play. Come fight off creep. Serral's not taking a bait, although he's got a massive surround set up. Is he really going to commit to this right now?
An insane surround, but also an insane spread here from Bunny. Who is going to be better favored in this? We see the Banelings come streaming on forward. None of them able to connect with these Marines,
Beautiful splits, though, by the Terran here. Like, getting so much value out of that Marine army that he's got. The Queen's just awkwardly derping there on that bridge because, well, they're no longer on creep.
Yeah, a lot of the siege tanks getting sniped off there. The supply is still surprisingly even after all of that, but we still see that Bunny has so many of these Marines that stayed alive during that fight. Another kind of stream of Zerglings heading in behind this army, more Banelings being picked off. I think that is the thing that's going to hurt Serral's position the most. He doesn't have that many Banelings anymore.
One thing to keep in mind, though, is that Bunny is on only 2 command centers, and we are fast approaching the 10-minute mark. Usually that's the point where the main and the natural are starting to run low. If Serral can hold on for another 3 minutes or so, this is actually going to look better and better for him. But then again, Bunny is here, and he's ready to push him further and deeper onto the creep.
Yeah, Queen's getting sniped off. Banelings not going to be able to find connections. A hot pickup at the last second, but this is Serral's go time. He knows that a lot of those units were in the medevacs and not able to fight. He's going to try and swarm in on some of these reinforcements. Is he able to clean things up?
Bunny is looking to go to the grand finals of DreamHack Atlanta, and I think he may very well be doing it. What a killer build to come out with here in game number 4 of this best of 5 series. He needs to still be careful, but GG is gold.
That's
indeed Bunny who wins.
Bunny knocks out.